Okay, the debate's already raging in here. Because I said that if you look at the starts Manchester City, Arsenal and Liverpool have had, it's no, I think, secret that Liverpool's look easier on paper. And this is the first real tough challenge they have, because Chelsea are in the top 4. You don't agree?
I don't agree. I think, listen, match week 6, was it, where Arsenal were given a scare by Southampton. Manchester City were given a scare by Fulham. And I just think that this is the most competitive league in the world. Who have Liverpool lost so far to this season? Nottingham Forest. Where did they lose? At home. I think the top team's record against the bigger sides is actually good, because you raised your game against the bigger sides. You raised your game. Your clubs that you played for, every time you played against the bigger sides, there is a higher level of performance. But when you're up against sides that are supposedly of a lower caliber, and there is the expectation on you to win, how do you deal with that? And I think this is going to be a super game, because these are 2 top sides committed to attacking. So it's going to be entertaining anyway. But is it the biggest test of Liverpool so far this season? I don't think so.
What do you think?
I think it's a little bit dismissive of going to Old Trafford. Yes, Manchester United aren't in their best form, but I think that fixture, Manchester United versus Liverpool, always brings, usually brings the best out in both teams.
Absolutely.
So I think that would have been, when you looked at Arne Slot's opening weekends, that would have been one that you looked at. I think probably as far as the opposition's concerned, this is the hardest test. I can understand where you're coming from with, I suppose that boils down to concentration.
Yes.
When you talk about the smaller clubs, and that's where you get your easy points. But so-called when you're playing your Chelseas and your Manchester Cities, they're so-called 6-pointers. So I think this is going to be a really interesting fixture, because I think both managers have started superbly well.
They certainly have. How impressed have we been with Liverpool, top of the table, the way that they've played, the only blot on that record, as you mentioned, Nottingham Forest.
And this is my point. The appetite, I would argue, wasn't there on that day.
Really?
It's a terrific goal, but when you think about the defensive record that Liverpool have, the best in the Premier League so far, and yet they were breached so easily on that day by Forest. The first time since '69 that Forest had managed to win at Anfield. And I just feel that, as far as this game is concerned, I think it will be won and lost in defence, because Chelsea have conceded in 5 of their 7 games so far this season. Liverpool have the best defensive record of any team in the Premier League. They're really switched on. Van Dijk is back to his leadership best. Trent Alexander-Arnold is as good defensively as he is going forward. Konate looks a real solid presence in that back line. And you know what you get from Andy Robertson in terms of consistency as well. Whereas Chelsea always give you a chance. Delicious going forward, but at the back, they are so open.
I don't think we can forget that in that Nottingham Forest fixture, they should have been 3-0 up already. But I think it was.
But that's the point I make about defence. There's no question marks around their attack. It's the defence.
Yeah, but there's also a balance of the manager getting to know the players players getting to know the manager, and they are more controlled in going forward. And some said they lacked a little bit of bite in that game, but it's that manner of the way you approach the game, and the way that Arne Slot wants his team to approach the game, and be patient in their build-up, and be patient even when it's come to the end of the game. Be composed and wait for that chance to come. And unfortunately, it never come from that afternoon. But I think there's a learning curve going on at Liverpool, like I say, with the manager and the players. And I think if you step away from it, take the emotion out of it, I think it's been a wonderful start.
I agree.
The way that Chelsea have started as well, into the top 4, and as you mentioned, their defence is the one weakness, and you know they always concede goals. But that Chelsea attack is really impressive, and Cole Palmer leading the way. We saw it in the kind of season highlights. He keeps breaking records. They showed a video of him this week when, you know, the club was involved in a big brawl, and he was just sitting down on the pitch.
It's my moment of the season.
All he wants to do is play. I just want to play, man.
I just want to play. I don't want to get involved in that nonsense. He just takes one look, sits down, crosses his legs, and just folds his arms. You guys knock yourself out, because this is what I'm best at.
Well, I mean, you're right. He's sensational. But I tell you what, they are starting to get is an understanding. They're starting to become a cohesion between them. They're learning about each other. They're building those relationships. And this Chelsea experiment I think he's starting to come together, and all of a sudden, top ball, he doesn't look so stupid anymore.
No, absolutely. You know, when you're a striker in a game like that, Glenn, does Palmer make up your mind for you in terms of the runs he makes?
Yes.
And does he?
Well,
pull the
especially
strings
when he gets on the ball, I think Cole Palmer's first thought is, can I penetrate? Can I pass forward? So if you're Nicholas Jackson, you're always going to break that line because you know he's got the ability to be able to get his head up and see you, and if he has the time, he will find you.
Right.
He'll nail that pass. So it gives you the confidence to keep making those runs because you've got somebody there. And you can see that relationship budding between the three of them, Madueke,
Yes.
Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer. There's a real understanding.
So I suppose the question I'm trying to ask, if you're Liverpool, maybe you stick Endo on him or you stick someone who's going to stop him being able to supply
Man on man.
with
You think
with
go
the
man to
ammunition.
man?
I think that might be their only option, because if you give him that freedom, that ability to pick out a pass, suddenly he's going to find that pass that finds Jackson, finds Madueke, or finds Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, that is one way of going about it, but the problem with him is he just drifts across, and he's that clever that if he starts in the 10 and he's not quite getting as much ball as what he would like, he'll drift to the left or drift to the right, and then all of a sudden, even if Enzo goes with him, Endo. If Endo goes with him, then it sort of disrupts everything else. Yeah. But I mean, I think Nicholas Jackson has been outstanding.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Cole Palmer's going to get all the plaudits because he gets the goals and he sits down when everyone's fighting, things like that. Nicholas Jackson might not be as likeable as a character from afar, but I think his improvement between the seasons has
Do you know what's interesting about Jackson? I agree with you. I think Palmer's supreme confidence and ability to take goals has allowed Jackson to progress under the radar. No one's kind of focusing on him because everybody wants to see Palmer. And so that allows Jackson sometimes to score, sometimes he won't. But that's okay because everyone wants to see
But he
what
always
Palmer's
affects
doing.
games.
Yes, absolutely. With his ability to run in behind,
Yeah.
his ability to draw defenders out of position, the pace which unsettle any defence, and he'll unsettle them at Liverpool on Sunday. He's a fabulous player.
And then even further back, Caicedo's starting to find his feet, and you're starting to understand why they paid so much money for him. So the balance of Chelsea, yes, the foundation might not quite be solid yet, but they're still working that one out.
It's very interesting to me because you mentioned the word experiments and you know, you say it is growing the partnerships. It either goes very right in games like Wolves where there's an avalanche of goals, or in games like Crystal Palace where they cannot seem to find a second.
So that just boils down to a little bit of inconsistency. And that is the one thing they have to tweak going forward. And I think that's what we've seen over the last 18 months, isn't it? It's like they're either absolutely outstanding or they don't turn up. So it's find that right balance. And I think likes of Caicedo, who is always going to be an 8 out of 10 sort of thing, and he's going to police that defence, and then just need to find that right balance at the back. Those two at the back that really suit each other. They've got so much talent. Once they find it, I mean, I think they've come so much further than what they were 12 months ago. So the plan is kind of working.
Okay, Premier League is back after the international break, and the biggest match of the weekend is Liverpool versus Chelsea at Anfield. First versus fourth, the best defense versus second best attack. But if you talk about attack, open play attack, then Chelsea have the best SG in open play so far this season. So that tells you that they created a lot of chances in open play. They don't create much from set pieces. So that's why they are last in the table for set pieces in the Premier League this season. But I mean, stylistically, this is going to be a very, very good matchup between two of the best sides in the Premier League so far. Two good managers, two new ideas, clashing. I mean, this game is going to define a lot for these two teams. It's going to show us where they are as a team. Chelsea, they have had a little bit of inconsistent starts this season. They played well and then defended poorly in some situations, but they have been outstanding in attack, especially with Cole Palmer, who is arguably the best player in the world right now based on form. But for Liverpool, I've been impressed with their defense. They have conceded only 2 goals. Not just that, they have conceded the fewest chances in the Premier League. SG against, they have the fewest in the Premier League this season. So they are watertight at the back. And why wouldn't they? If you have Konate and Van Dijk at the back as your centre back pairing, why wouldn't you? So yeah, I mean, they have been together for a long time. That back four. With Trent on the right and then Tsimikas or Robertson on the left. They have been together for a long, long time. So you expect them to have that level of understanding between them. And then Gravenberch, who is now their anchor guy in the pivot, he's been outstanding, reminiscence of Patrick Vieira at Arsenal. So you think that they have everything going for them at the moment. Yeah, it has to be said. I keep seeing people saying they have had an easy start, blah blah blah. Yeah, true. They have had an easy start, but no game is easy in the Premier League. Anybody can beat anybody. So you have to give them kudos. And the most important thing is that defense, because if you have a stable defense, you'll have a chance of winning. And they have devastating players in attack. The Jota, the Salah, the Diaz, they have very, very good players. So it's going to be a very good matchup that will test Chelsea's status at the moment in the Premier League, because some people are still doubting if they have what it takes or if it's just a small scream or whatever, But I have gonna think after this game, everybody will know where Chelsea are and where Liverpool are. It's not something that you can put your hands on right now because of the teams both teams have played so far this season. Liverpool have played only Manchester United as a top team, and Chelsea have played Man City and lost that game. So this game is, like I said earlier, will define a lot between these two teams. For Chelsea, that attack, I mean, if you look at Cole Palmer and Noni Madueke, they have created 15 chances for each other in the Premier League this season, the most of any duo. So Palmer's four assists for Madueke was also the most for one player. The most from one player for another teammate so far this season. That's incredible. And don't forget also Palmer scored 4 goals in one first half. In first half against Brighton, he also Premier League record. No player has ever done that. No player has ever scored 4 goals in the first half, not one half in the first half. So I mean, they have a lot going for them as well, Chelsea. That attack, they can outscore teams if you are not careful. So even though that they league games, but they can outscore teams, which is a good gift to have. If your attack can put chances away, then why not? Why not go for it? So Liverpool, we have to be careful because Chelsea are not joking here. They are, like I said, they have the best SG in open play in the Premier League this season, even though Liverpool have the best defense. But they also concede chances, because if you watch them, their first match against Ipswich, they gave Ipswich a lot of good opportunities. And also against Manchester United, they gave them a few opportunities as well, even Brentford. So they cannot concede chances, but against Chelsea is going to be a little bit magnified, because I believe that Chelsea will test them. The thing with Chelsea is if they can keep it tight at the back, if they can defend well, they are devastating on the counter, and they have this connection between the three front men, Palmer, Jackson, and Madueke. They have that connection that gives them the edge, when they attack teams on the counter. And they have scored a lot of goals from the counter this season. They are devastating. So if they can be able to hold on to the ball, beat Liverpool's first line of press, and then break that line, because Liverpool will press them intensely, because Chelsea have made a lot of mistakes from build-up. So Liverpool will try to capitalize on that. But if they can comfortably break that first line of press, they will have a chance to beat Liverpool. I am 100% sure of that, because once that first line is broken, they will have a lot of overload in the middle. against Manchester United at times, when Liverpool pressed Manchester United and recovered the ball, they had some 4v2, 4v3 situations, a lot. So which means Liverpool, they press with 4 or 5 players. And if you can break it, then you will have massive overload behind them. And that's what Chelsea need to figure out. If they can figure it out and create opportunities from that, then Liverpool will be in trouble. Maybe Liverpool will also be a little bit more careful and do not approach it the way that they approached the Manchester United's game. If they watched how Chelsea dismantled West Ham, they will be a little bit careful. But it's a game of chess, this one. These two managers are outstanding. They are outstanding, and they will try to get one over the other. No doubt about that. So we have to enjoy the game and then come back during the review and see how it goes.